What's the point of caffeine-free Diet Coke?
Well, late at night.
Oh.
When you've had your first 7, you switch to caffeine-free. Welcome to Sit Down and Cheer, episode 58, sponsored by Joe Black's Bar and Grill. This week's guests, Malcom Agnew and Keaton Studsrud. We have a football extravaganza today. Brand new running backs coach Malcom Agnew and senior quarterback Keaton Studsrud. That 4 years
Quarterback slash running back, according to this podcast, yeah.
That 4 years went fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that long ago. He came in as a freshman after first 2 guys in the depth chart went down. And he talks about how he was a deer in headlights for those, what was it, 4 games I think he played? The final month, basically.
Yeah, he was pretty candid about it.
He goes from that to hanging out with the Mannings in 4 years. That's not a bad gig. And Coach Agnew from via Nebraska, he played at Southern Illinois under Dale Lennon, Eric Schmidt, Bubba Schweigert.
We're going to go check out that Rams celebration and see if we can find him on TV.
Apparently Malcom Agnew makes a cameo in America's Game, the Greatest Show on Turf episode. His dad, Ray Agnew, longtime NFL player, was on that Rams team. I think he was a defensive lineman, if I remember correctly. So we're going to go look for that for sure. Young 6-year-old Malcom Agnew.
Play some Tecmo Super Bowl while we're at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about Barry Sanders got me fired up about that, too.
Yeah, I'm suddenly ready for football. Crazy how that works. These 2 guys are fired up.
Yeah, ready to go. It's June. Let's do it.
So I think they report in basically 60 days or so.
Report? Oh, no, they're playing by then, don't they?
Report to camp. Yeah, you got it right here. August 31st is the opener at Utah, Thursday, August 31st. So that's 2 months from this weekend. Yikes.
Yeah.
It's coming. Whether we're ready or not at Hislop. David, you ready?
Yes. He's drinking caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Yeah, that's not going to get you ready, son.
Especially at 10 in the morning.
You're going to have to ramp that up. We got volleyball coming. We got soccer coming. Let's go. So, and then the home opener will be September 9th, the following week against Missouri State. That's the Potato Bowl, 52nd annual Potato Bowl. I like tots.
Yeah, you know what? Back in the day, the Potato Bowl was like, we played Crookston or we played somebody else. Missouri State?
It's basically an exhibition game.
That's a legit school.
Hate to say it, but that's...
Yeah.
The game was decided by the second quarter, typically.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was last time we played Missouri State, too, on the other side, so I think they've got some, they'll have a chip on their shoulder. And they're starting with Utah, which is a legit FBS school. Like, people don't probably think of that right away when they think about dominating FBS teams, but I follow Michigan football, and I think they scheduled them 3 out of the 6 years, and they beat them.
Well, always, the big thing at our level of football, people always talk about signature wins. Yep. Well, you don't get signature wins if you don't play signature games.
Play them, yeah.
So here we go. Let's go.
Yeah, and they were so close last year, too.
Painfully close.
Yeah, we were talking about that with Keaton, just how, did the team get down, or it was just kind of a keep grinding mentality, and they kept with it.
It was hard not to feel doom and gloom after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks plus a half of week 3.
And I think it would have been different if those games weren't close. But both those games were winnable games right down to the end.
You're wondering, did we just let opportunity slip away? Is the season slipping away already? And then you're looking at playing out the string after 3 weeks. That's a nightmarish scenario, and pulled off just one of the most amazing runs in program history, really.
Well, I think we should have known better that once we win against South Dakota, how we won that game. Like, that was kind of setting up what kind of season it was going to be. And that the Northern Arizona, we didn't even talk to him about the Northern Arizona game, how stupid good that was at the end.
It reminded me a lot, now that I think about it, was that 2003 when you were the football SID, and we had all those crazy second half down to the wire.
Down 25 against St. Cloud at the half.
We had Brandon Strouth throwing touchdown passes.
That's right. Yep. And, came back and won that game. I think I want to say they won 4 or 5 games in the last seconds. Jeff Glass kicked a couple field goals in the last
some overtime wins.
A bunch of games. So
Did we win a game going for 2 in overtime?
South Dakota State, and it bounced off another guy. Like, it was one of those where it was like magic is happening for this team.
Who caught that? Do you remember?
I want to say Allers.
Jesse Allers?
Jesse Allers, I want to say. I'm going to have to go back and look now.
Folsky, what were you doing in 2003?
He was like 7. He was 13, so a lot of Rubik's Cube and
you were growing that
weirdness.
Beard. Starting to. Okay, so a football-heavy episode for you. We've got brand new running backs coach Malcom Agnew. He's been here a month. He'll tell you all about his career, his playing career, his start into the coaching profession, his first impressions of Grand Forks and the community, and then we'll shift gears with senior quarterback now, Keaton. That's still hard to get used to. Keaton Studsrud. He'll recap his weekend, just this past weekend, at the Manning Passing Academy down in Louisiana, and then some thoughts on the upcoming season, a little bit of a look back at last season, and some social media fun involving tattoos and crazy fans.
Yep. Hodge is getting some ink.
Enjoy. Coach Agnew, thanks for taking some time out of your day to do this.
Yeah,
welcome to Grand Forks.
Oh, not a problem. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on.
How long you been here now?
Shoot, about a month now. I moved up on Memorial Day and then got settled in.
Yeah.
So been here about a month.
What do you think so far?
It surprised me as a town, honestly. I didn't expect too much. The connotation that North Dakota gets, it's cold and there's nothing but freaking bison running around out here and whatnot. And that's the connotation it gets. And I actually played against North Dakota State back in the day when I was playing at SIU, and I said I'd never come back to North Dakota. Here I am now working, but I couldn't be happy to be here.
At SIU, you were there when Bubba Schweigert was there. He wasn't your position coach, right?
He was a defensive coordinator when I was there, yes.
So what do you remember about him before his head coaching days here?
Man, he used to bring that pressure. In practice, he used to heat us up in practice with pressure all the time. And he was always a good coach. His defense were always top 10 in the country, number 1 in the conference. And it was always hard to run his defenses. But he was always a guy that really cared about the players, not just, statistics on defense or having a great stout defense. He cared. And that's what players care about. They care if their coaches care. That's the first and most important thing.
But you played with Bubba, but you also played with Eric Schmidt. Tell us about your relationship with him.
Schmitty is an honorary member of the Agnew family. Schmitty recruited my older brother to SIU Carbondale back in the day. In 2009, that was the graduating class. And when I was at Oregon State, I decided to transfer, and he was the guy that kind of handled my transfer stuff. And so he helped us out both in that aspect of me and my brother being in the same backfield at SIU Carbondale because he was a fullback and I was a running back. And then he put in a good word for me with this job. So Schmitty, that's my guy right there. He's an honorary member of the Agnew family.
So he played a key part in getting you back here as well, huh?
Yeah, I think he just brought it up, and I guess they gauged my interest, and then throughout the whole process, just stayed in touch, and by the grace of God, I ended up here. So I'm happy to be here.
You're like, okay, I got to coach running backs, and I got a whole host of guys that are just studs at this level.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun this year.
Yeah.
We're going to have some fun, no question about that. They're great guys, too, and I've already, had some good conversations with them. They're fired up about the season.
Yeah.
The vision of the season is clear, and they understand that, and we're going to work towards making that vision come true. So,
during the hiring process, what did Schmitty and Bubba pitch to you? What did they sell you on about the job, about the place, the school?
Just the family that was here. They just kept telling me, like, hey, we're one big happy family here. We'd like to possibly have you as a part of the family if you're interested. And, I went through the whole process and, had to make sure I did everything I needed to do for the interviews and things like that because, there were other candidates, but they were just saying, like, hey, we had some success last year. We know who you are as a guy. We're looking for good people to be a part of the program. And, they thought enough of me to be a good person in the program, so I really appreciated that from them. But that's what they kind of sold, just the family atmosphere and the fact there's a ton of good people here, which it reigns supreme, and it's true.
You worked under Mike Riley. You played for Mike Riley.
Yes.
I'm a lifelong CFL fan, so to me, Mike Riley is always former Winnipeg Blue Bombers head coach Mike Riley. But what did you learn from him, both during your playing days and your working days with him?
Well, one thing that Mike Riley always talks about, and it's one of the pillars of his program, is respect. And that's something he's taught me, is just having respect for each and every person in every organization or program that you're a part of, whether it's, the head coach or the offense coordinator or someone that feeds you lunch or someone that, washes your clothes for the, equipment managers and things like that. So with that, he always taught me, like, hey, you need to respect every single person that's a part of this because everyone plays a part in, wins and losses. And that's what I don't think people realize, how many people play a part in a victory.
Yeah.
Think about it. There's the coaches that coach, the players that work hard, GAs that draw up cards and help, prepare the scout team. There's trainers that tape ankles every day. There's equipment managers to make sure equipment is set up so that the players can be safe out there. There's people that work on travel logistics. Then they work on the food at the place when they travel, and then, you know, the day of the game, people that even make sure the headsets are working and things like that. So many people are a part of a victory every single time.
The only guy he didn't mention was the SID. That's awesome.
Maybe not so
all
much.
Grouchy over there.
But I just think, with that being said, there's so many people that play a part. Everyone deserves their respect and their thank yous, and I think that's a big thing he did for me, is show me that.
You were there a short time, but what was it like being right in the center of Nebraska football?
It was cool. It was fun. You know, I enjoyed being around such a program with great history and being around great coaches that really knew, you know, the ins and outs of this business. And I learned a lot just watching them, picking their brains and things like that. And it was cool to, you know, be around, you know, a program that had so many fans that would come to the game. And there are a lot of crazy fans in Nebraska.
And come to camps. You told me off air that you had 10,000 people come to a camp.
I think, it was around 8,000 to 10,000 they just had at a camp. And, you know, just being around that was cool. The bells and whistles, that was all cool.
Yep.
So I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Very cool.
You got something?
Let's talk about running back. So that's a position where sometimes egos can happen, right? And you've got a whole host of a stable of guys that can, you know, tote the rock and probably be a starter. You got probably 4 guys in there that could be in the mix. How do you keep those egos in check to make sure they're all towards the team?
And that's the exact same one of the Twitter questions we got for you is the exact same question.
Okay.
Well, first off, my job's not to, you know, make sure everyone's happy in that room. My job is to make sure they're well coached, make sure they're disciplined and ready to play each and every week. We're going to be one big happy family. That's not an issue. But my job isn't to make sure to keep everybody happy. My job is to make sure everyone's prepared and ready to help this team, because it's not about these individuals in this room. It's about this team. And they all know that and understand that.
Yeah.
And they all get that. That's why they all work together to, you know, pull their weight in whatever role they have, whether it's being a starter, coming out the bench, or just being a special teams guy or a scout team guy. They all know what their role is going to end up being, and they're going to accept it.
And it's a unique situation, too, where you got guys like Santiago who came in as a wide receiver. They plugged him in there and becomes an All-American as a freshman. You've got Norberg in there. He didn't come in as a running back. So you've got this just group of guys that have just proven to be situational guys, I guess is the best way to put it. You got Brady, you can put him in there, and you can get some tough yardage. So you've got a whole bunch of different options there, don't you?
Yeah, and what I want for my backs, I want them to be able to be in any situation. Of course, everyone's going to have their special team, what situation they thrive in the most, but I want them to be complete. I want them to play on every single down, first, second, and third. I want them to know everything that's going on. I want them to plug the holes that they have in their games right now. I think that's what we're really focusing on, is improving the knowledge of the game and plugging up those holes just to make sure we're more mature runners and mature football players.
Yeah. And I would guess as a running backs coach, you're doing a lot of video work on the opposing defense just to see where you guys can fit in. How hard is it going to be for other teams to scout you guys and see what you guys are going to be able to do?
Well, I think we do a lot of different things that are dependent on what the defense does. So with that being said, you know, we could change that from week to week.
Yep.
And I think there'll always be something hard that keeps the defense on their toes, is trying to, you know, make sure that, okay, if they do this, we have to do that, since we do change so many different things.
Yep.
And that just comes with the territory of us having to be smarter football players so we can throw more at these guys to keep the defense on their toes.
Yeah.
You get to coach the position you played, which doesn't always happen in football coaching. With the passage of time and age and maturity, how would Coach Agnew coach running back Agnew? How would you have handled you?
You know, and it's funny you ask me that, because I think about that question all the time. I went back and watched every single run that I ever did at Oregon State my first 2 years. I couldn't find my SIU runs, but I found those and watched every single one and coached myself through those runs. I was so undetailed. I was so not I wouldn't call it lazy, but just lazy with the little things.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would correct. Like, make sure my steps were correct with my certain footwork for each run, and make sure my aiming points were correct in certain runs, and make sure I knew what exactly was going on with the defense. My knowledge was so small back then. If I knew what I knew now, I would be a way better player. And every player says that, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you know, I'm the only guy that knows that. But
were you good enough, though, to get away with those with those shortcuts? Because you're going to coach players like that in your career that are so good that they can get by without the finer points. Were you one of those players?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, sometimes it'll work out. Like, okay, I wouldn't take great zone work footsteps, and I'd be able to make that cutback still, even though my body was tilted one way. But other times I'd try to get back there and then be a tackle for loss because my body wasn't straight because of the little detail that throws things off. And that's what I want my guys to realize. Like, okay, these little details right here are going to take you a long way. You'll realize how many yards you leave on the field by having one small detail off, whether it's your aiming point slightly off by 1 foot or your steps aren't quite as wide or as short as they need to be.
And when did it finally click for you as a running back? Did I got to worry about these things or not till you were a coach?
My senior year. I got better with it my senior year. I still wasn't great at it, but by the time my senior year came around, I really did a lot of film work and film study, and I was like, okay, I finally realized what I've been doing wrong because I was a guy that's heavily relying on my instincts, which is you want to be as a runner.
Yeah.
But what I mean by being a more mature runner is realizing, okay, I really got to make sure I have my proper footwork, my proper aiming point, and understand how the run scheme is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Of course, when you get the ball in your hands, that's when you're supposed to be special. Like, you do what you do when the ball's in your hands. But beforehand, you got to at least have an understanding of what's going on.
Well, I'll put you on the spot then. Are you going to show your runs to your guys and say, this is what you should be doing, this is what you shouldn't be doing?
I plan to. I plan to show them just because I want them to see, like, hey, I played running back at the Pac-12 level and, the 1AA level, but that doesn't mean I'm any better than you guys were. I mean, look at all this garbage that I put on film. Look at these steps right here. Then there'll be some runners that are like, yeah, you see, I still got it. Like, you see that back in the day, I still got it today. But I want them to see that. Like, okay, here's what our running back coach did wrong. He's not just telling us because he did it all perfectly. He messed up as well in his career, and he understands that because of that.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where it clicked that you wanted to pursue coaching at some point?
I was always told I would be a good coach. Like, my running backs coach, my senior year at SIU, Larry Warner, he told me, you'd be a really good coach someday. And, I kind of ran with it. I was like, maybe that would be something I would want to do. But honestly, when it kind of set in for me was when I was going to have my shot at the NFL. Green Bay was going to sign me as an undrafted free agent. But when I went to get my physical and stuff done so I could sign my contract, I ended up failing my physical because I have stenosis in my back.
Been there, done that.
So that kind of put me on my next career path. And then I ended up coaching at my high school right after that happened. I coached running backs, and I loved every minute of it. We only won one game. The Smith Spartans, we won one game that year. But I tell you what, I loved every single minute.
But we ran for 300 yards and we had 5 touchdowns.
I wish.
Man, how hard was that to be so close to your NFL dream and then to get that news? What was that like?
Oh, it was heartbreaking. I struggled with it for a while. And, every now and then it still creeps up in my mind and whatnot. But and I'm lucky I had my wife there to kind of help me through all that. She was great with just kind of being supportive and saying, like, hey, I don't know exactly why this is happening. I don't know why, this is all going on, but God has a plan. And it's funny because I think his plan was he wanted me to be a football coach. And so here I am now, 2 years after that, I have my own position and my own room at a 1AA school at the age of 24. I mean, I'm
on this podcast.
Exactly. You're just marking off all the bucket lists.
Wouldn't rather be anywhere else. No, but I'm extremely blessed to be where I am right now. And I think that's the reason why that all happened. I think I learned so much in my career from starting at a young age as a true freshman to not starting the next year to transferring to dealing with a bunch of injuries and things like that. And I think it's equipped me to be able to combat many situations that my guys might go through.
What do you remember? What do you think about when someone asks you about our old friend Dale Lennon? We were both Coach Lennon's at SID at different points. What do you remember about him?
Coach Lennon cared. Just like I talked about Coach Schweigert, Coach Lennon really cared. I don't think all the guys really realized how much he truly cared about all of us on that team. Yep. He went the extra mile just to make sure we had everything that we needed.
Well, and speaking of detail-oriented.
Yeah, very much so.
It's a detail-oriented guy, and that's why he had success. He won a national title here, and he was competitive at the 1AA level at SIU Carbondale. But, I mean, that's the first thing that pops up about Coach Lennon was that he cared. Defensive-minded, and he had that heavy North Dakota accent. You know what? We try to do things right here.
Have a good day.
That was good.
Thank you.
I was really
practicing for 15 years.
Top notch. No, but Coach Lennon is a great guy, and I'm thankful for him giving me another chance when I transferred as well.
You had a stop with the Rams, and we'll get into your dad's background too, but you had a coaching stop. You worked with the Rams a little bit. What kind of stuff did you do there?
Oh, I was just working in the scouting department, honestly. I was working on just doing some small projects because I was a scouting intern. They just had me doing some film breakdown. I would do these things called POAs, where you just break down the good and bad plays that certain players do. So, for example, I would do a running back, and I would tag all his good or bad plays, like, oh, this was a good run, or oh, this was a bad run, he fumbled the ball, or this was, a pass protection play he missed. And then I would also give a quick little one-liner summary about what I thought of him as a player, like, oh, this guy, he could be a good starter at this level. He has this grade. Yep. And I would, do that for different types of positions. And I would just organize and make cut-ups of different types of blocks for certain people. And so, like, with tight ends, if I were to do a tight end, I would watch 12 of their games, and then I would cut up, the different types of blocks that they want to have, like a drive block, reach block, cutoff block, second-level block, things like that.
Wow. That's a pretty cool internship.
Yeah, and I would what was cool with me, I got to sit in with guys that really knew the game of football. One of my mentors in just the football business, Rand Carthon, he used to have me and a couple of the young guys in the mornings watching tape just to study some of their tendencies and whatnot. We would watch certain players that might be coming to draft the next year, or a guy that might be a restricted free agent. And, we would give our little summary of what we thought, me and the other guys were there, and then compare it to his, and then we kind of would bounce ideas off of him. And so with that, I learned a lot just about, how to evaluate talent and just how the business works. So
you mentioned that your allegiance are still with the Rams, even though they left St. Louis, but a lot of that's because of your dad, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if my dad didn't work for him, I'd probably still be an LA Rams fan. But that's because he played. He won Super Bowl. I was there when, the greatest show on turf was the greatest show on turf.
I was going to ask you, were you at the Super Bowl?
I was at the Super Bowl.
How old were you then?
I was 6 years old.
I was going to say, don't let him say it because you'll feel old.
6 years old.
I was about to graduate college.
You know what's funny? The America's Game on NFL Network? Yeah. I'm on that.
Are you really?
You look, at the end, I'm a little kid, a little snot-nosed kid grabbing the confetti that's falling down from the air.
What jersey are you wearing?
99, because my dad was number 9.
That's a great America's Game, too.
Very cool.
I love that team. Yeah. They were so fun to watch.
So if you see it again, you see a little light-skinned pipsqueak that has snot down his nose. That's me.
Do you remember being there? Do you have any memories of the game as a 6-year-old?
Yeah, I do. I actually thought, so at first, on that last play when there was 6 seconds left, when the Titans were driving down, I thought he got in the end zone. I couldn't tell from where I was. I was small. I thought he scored. So when that last play happened, I was like, no. But then everyone started cheering. I was like, wait, why is everyone cheering? And then I see the Rams running on the field. I'm like, yeah, we won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I'll never forget, being around so many great professionals, Marshall, Torrey, Isaac, seeing my dad go in and day out and bust his butt and whatnot.
Marshall Falk.
That just really resonated with me.
That's going to be a hard moment to beat. I mean, like, you peaked at 6 in terms of your football fandom. I'm a Lions fan, so I'm never going to get that. I'm just saying.
Keep reaching for that confetti.
I don't know. The Lions might be on the way. They got some talent.
We say that every year about this time.
No, but it was.
You haven't said they have talent every year. Come on.
Back when my man Chuck was the quarterback, yeah, I thought we were good.
Chuck Batch.
Hey, Charlie Batch, Barry Sanders. Now, you want to talk about Barry Sanders, you want to talk about one of the best running backs ever. Right?
It doesn't get much better than Barry.
Exactly. Anyways.
The 9-1-1 ability that Barry Sanders had to get out of trouble is unmatched.
And he had to.
No one can match what he did.
But here's the thing. Would he drive you nuts as a coach just because they always said that he had a heartbeat where he'd go backwards, forward, and then bam, he'd get a big one. Would you rather have the consistency where he's getting 6-7 yards? Or
that was always the Emmett versus Barry debate, right?
Yep. Because Barry would kill you sometimes with some -6s,
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
But honestly, if Barry is as special as Barry is, I'm going to let Barry be Barry. Barry will know how the run's supposed to be, but when he's in the game doing his thing, I'm not going to tell him, like, don't ever do that again. I'll be like, look, you're going to do that. You're on your own if you're going out there because, that guy's unblocked. That corner, he's not being blocked. That safety, he's not being blocked. So if you go there, good luck.
John Santiago's listening. He's going to hold you to that.
Me and John, we've had a couple good chats. He understands what's going on, but and they do have some similarities when it comes to them trying to create runs and kind of going all over the place and whatnot. And I'll tell him the same thing. I'll be like, how the run is supposed to be designed. Most of the time you'll be better off, probably sticking it in there. But let's say one time you do decide to bounce it and it works out. Hey, that's fine. But not, hey, you're on your own, and I told you so. So
I always like it when you have a guy that can return kicks, return punts like John does, and that's what drove me nuts as a Lions fan because they never would let Barry do that.
But they had Mel Gray.
I know it, but I mean,
good.
just like, but you can see how he creates an open field. Like that's what you want.
What do Barry, Mel Gray, and Malcolm's dad all have in common? They're all in Tecmo Super Bowl.
Okay,
seriously, that's awesome.
That's good.
Well, so what's it like growing up? I mean, we're probably the 500th person to ask you this question, but growing up the son of an NFL player, what's that life like?
You know, I grew up very blessed. I had a very blessed childhood. You know, I got to hang around a bunch of guys that, were professionals and the best at what they did. Marshall Faulk was a first ballot Hall of Famer. My brother and I, my older brother Ray, we used to walk up to him all the time and just say hi and just stand there in awe of, this guy that we want to be. But, I grew up really blessed just hanging around the game and hanging around so many great people and getting to see so many NFL games because there's so many people that haven't even been to an NFL game. But I got to go to 8 every season.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm truly blessed.
Oh, so you skipped the preseason, too.
Yeah, I went to 2 games. I would have counted game.
Did you ever not want to play football? Were there times where you almost resented football because you don't see dad as often as some kids see their dad, things like that?
Well, my dad did a great job of being around. He was always present. He found a time his last season to be a coach on my Little League team. Like, obviously, he couldn't come to some games, but he found a time to be a coach on my team. So he made that effort. I don't think a lot of people always do, but he went that extra mile. And that's why he's my hero. He's always been there for me. He's always been a guy that's, put his family first. One thing no one really knows about my dad, he would be one of the best D-line coaches in the country if he wanted to be. But he got into scouting because he knew he could make a solid life for his family without having to move all over the place. And he's been with the Rams organization since he was done playing in 2001. So
very solid.
Did he give you any advice once it became clear you were going to pursue coaching as a livelihood?
Keep your family first.
Did he warn you? No, don't do it.
Keep your family first. No, he heavily encouraged me because he realizes he knew that I would be, a guy that would be a good coach. He knew that was my passion. He saw it. He saw it with me coaching my little brother up on little things. He saw it with me out there coaching the running backs I just met my high school that one year. He was like, you go into the profession and, go in boldly because this is what you're meant to do. So
I got some Twitter questions.
Yeah. Fire away.
We touched on some of these things, but I'll ask them again. This one is from @firstpick_NE. What are a few things you took away from Nebraska that helped you improve as a coach?
Well, the running backs coach at Nebraska is excellent, Reggie Davis. He really knows his stuff. The thing I learned most from him was teaching the guys just the game of football in general. So many small rules aren't even known with the game of football. Also, like, if you're going to be a running back, understand defensive fronts, understand schemes, understand coverages, things like that. I think that's one thing I really admired from him. And that's one thing Jaquiz Rogers, who played under Reggie Davis, said. He was like, honestly, when Coach Davis took me through all that stuff, I didn't quite understand why we need to learn that at first. But when I got to the next level, I really understood why, because I really helped him learn things quicker. It'll be his 7th year in the pros now. I think 7th or 8th year. So,
and that's how you stay on the field is you learn those things. You know how to block well. You know how to keep the quarterback upright.
Well, the more you know, the more valuable you are. Simple
absolutely,
as that. That's how you keep a job. So,
this one's from I am Hagar 7657. How would you describe your experience with the UND football community so far?
Excellent. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I think everyone's been really nice and really accepting and really welcoming. That's something that's really been cool for me.
Have you had a chance to go to Zeeland, North Dakota yet, home of Bubba Schweigert?
Never heard
Get a bowl of
I didn't know
soup?
I didn't know he was from Zeeland.
Oh, yeah.
Never even heard of Zeeland.
You'll hear that.
How many people are in the town?
12?
Yeah, it's
not
not
all
many.
Schweigerts, I think.
I did see that he's speaking at an engagement there, and they're serving Nefla soup. I'm like, I love North Dakota right now.
What is Nefla soup?
Exactly.
Don't
what
look at
is
me.
it?
It's a potato?
It's a soup, but I can't remember exactly what's in it. It's good though. I mean, it's
You're
like
from around here.
It's not quite a dumpling type deal, but maybe just.
You're not a soup guy anyway.
Not really.
No. But as cold as people have told you it is here, it's colder than that. Just be ready.
Yeah, be ready.
Well, looking forward to it.
You can always put more clothes on. That's what I say. You can always put more clothes on.
Well, just
you
had
can always take more
to get
off.
an extra warm coat and keep the house warm. So
yeah,
it'll be good.
I won't share the advice Roger Thomas gave us
so
about
good
working in a hot office.
I mean, it's been in the 80s so far. Give North Dakota a little pub. It's been in the 80s. Nice
the
and
spring
clear.
and summer here are amazing. Yeah, great.
It's been a little extreme this year.
Yeah.
Some gale force winds and all that. This one's a bit of a loaded question, and that's exactly the kind of question we like. It's from at Mount Rushmore, Mike Russler. Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, he's a childhood friend and classmate at the Smet. What up, Mike?
If you had to pick a QB to take handoffs from, would it be Jason White or Ryan Leaf?
Oh, boy.
Wow. That is a Mike Russler question all day. Jason White, I'm not getting a hand up from Ryan Leaf. I mean, at least Jason White was an okay guy. He didn't pan out, but at least he was an okay guy.
Well, he was 5 years old when Ryan Leaf was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the other thing.
Give me Jason
Don't
White.
talk to me.
Jason White all day.
Aside from your dad, who was your
Leaf.
favorite NFL player? Was it Marshall?
I'd probably say Marshall, yeah. That's who I've said consistently. You know, it changes sometimes. I used to like Brian Westbrook. He was a guy that I really liked a lot. I had a little Doug Martin phase with running backs, but Marshall Faulk is probably number one.
I'm not even a Rams fan, and I like Marshall Faulk. Just watching him play.
That offense was so crazy. If Faulk would go down, and they'd put in Trung Candidate, and he'd rip off 200 yards. It was just unreal.
You know what's funny about Marshall? A lot of people don't realize how smart he was. He was like another coach on the field. Like, sometimes he wouldn't know what was going on before the coordinator did, as far as like what was happening with the block. Like, okay, this guy missed their block. This is why this all didn't work on this play. And he's on the field seeing that. All the way in the backside, he may be running a play to the right. He may see all the way in the backside that this guy didn't get this cutoff block and he came down the line. And that was what was really special about Marshall.
So the following year in the Super Bowl, why didn't they give him the ball more?
You know, I can't explain that. I'm still sad to this day that we lost
What was your
that
7-year-old take on that?
You know, I was so hurt when they made that field goal because everything was working out that year. I just assumed, like, oh, they'll miss it. We're going to go into overtime. We're going to win it. And he made it. I was devastated.
I think everybody assumed the Rams would probably have 3 or 4 rings in that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I mean, we had a special team, players all over the place.
Pretty young team, too.
Good defense. Yeah, and then just, I don't know. Kurt got hurt the next year, and Bolger came in and firing and whatnot, but we had some injuries.
He got pretty beat up.
It all kind of fell apart a little bit, but a great 3 or 4 year stretch, though.
Well, what's your message to fans here? What can they look forward to this year and the years ahead?
For North Dakota football?
That's right.
I tell you what, I really, truly believe in this place. I've only been here a month. I think this is a special place. I think we're building something here special, and I think we're gonna really see a lot of victories here in the future. I think everyone should be excited because I think there's going to be a lot of change. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement within the program from years to come. I think we're going to build a North Dakota Fighting Hawks brand here that'll start to grow and spread. You know, more and more people are going to start to know, like, hey, they're doing things really well at North Dakota. They're really, winning a lot of games. They're really making an impact, because this game of football is way bigger than, wins and losses. I think with this program, not only are we going to increase the wins, I think we're really going to start to have an impact over the state and neighboring states and then the region and then hopefully over the country. So
I'm in. I'm fired up.
Let's go. We're recording this in the High Performance Center.
Yeah.
As a recruit, if you could go back in time and see a place like this, what would that mean to you as a recruit? Having a facility like this?
Well, these facilities are great, and I don't think people realize how good the facilities are up in North Dakota, just around the country, just because it's all the way, as far as it is north. Yeah. But, I mean, this indoor is as good as it gets, especially the 1AA level. I mean, it's big, spacious. To have track meets here, too, and, it's the heat's controlled and it's spacious. It holds fans. It's as good as it gets. And from what I'm hearing from other people that come around and see it, they're like, wow, we didn't know this was up here. And I think that's one thing that you'll see from North Dakota football is it'll be more known how great this place is because it really is a special place. I just don't think everyone knows that yet.
It all starts with feeding those backs. Let's do it. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, not a problem. Appreciate you guys having me. God bless.
Studsrud barking out the signals. Studsrud takes the snap, looks to his right. Studsrud pressured, lobs it, ball caught, runs it, touchdown, North Dakota! Holy cow!
All right, joined now by North Dakota quarterback Keaton Studsrud. Coach Agnew warmed up the seat for you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're up at 5:30 today, working out in June. How'd it go?
It was good.
Are you a workout guy? Do you get up for that stuff, or you force yourself?
As I came in as a freshman, it was a little bit tough. Not used to getting up that early, but just kind of as you get older, it's not too bad.
Easier in June than January, I'm sure. Sun's out.
Yeah,
birds
you're not staying up late with homework and other stuff. So it's not too bad. I like getting up early.
And plus, you're thinking this is the last go around. It's the last time I got to really do this, right?
Yeah, I think so, maybe. But I'm kind of an early guy, so I'm used to it.
So you just got back from this Manning Passing Academy. That was over the weekend. When did you get back?
Yep, I got back. I got back late Sunday night.
Good experience. What's it all about?
It was. There's so much that I took away from it. All around, it was just a great experience. So I went down there as a camp counselor, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we also got to work out as the college quarterbacks. There's about 40 of us there, and then during the day we'd have like a morning practice, afternoon practice, and then like night with 7-on-7 with like the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just all high schoolers, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. So that was fun, just coaching the kids, just kind of giving back. It's kind of cool, I was at that spot at one point, kind of looking up to some older guys and seeing them, and now being able to coach them was really cool, and got to meet a ton of people. It was really cool, kind of a humbling experience. You see guys like Peyton and Eli, and you've only seen them on TV, and then
do you have much interaction with them while you're there?
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah. I mean, I had multiple conversations with Peyton, talked to Eli for a little bit, and Archie too. Archie was really cool to talk to. He actually used to live in my town that my parents live in right now.
Really?
So yeah, that was cool.
What do you guys talk about, or are you mostly listening?
So we'd have some like Q&A sessions with football talk during the day. We had one of those, but then just kind of like outside at the socials at night, we just kind of talked to them to see who they are as a person, which was cool. Seeing the other side of them was interesting. Just not seeing them as a football player, but just more as a person. It was cool, and just just kind of seeing how they go about their day, their work ethic, things they prefer, things they don't prefer in a program, and what to expect from teammates was it was just cool to hear from all the stuff, their insight, and just how they elevated to the top and what they brought to the table.
Could you see a difference in the intensity between Peyton, who's already retired, and Eli, who's still grinding?
Honestly, no, not much. Peyton's still he's
still getting after it, huh?
Oh yeah, he's very intense. I mean, he ran us through college quarterbacks or drills. Eli too, but both high energy guys, fun to work with. Just great personalities. They're gonna be Peyton's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day, and he's just a nice guy. He's super fun to work with, easy to talk to, and it was a blast.
Was there anything either Manning or even their dad said to you throughout the weekend that really struck a chord with you? Not really. Not maybe like struck me, kind of blindsided me. I felt like, I don't know, I'm going to be a senior, so I feel like I've kind of seen a lot of the ins and outs of what goes on with the program, kind of like what to expect. But it was just kind of cool hearing from them about how to, just approach situations like, if a guy's late to work out, like how do they go about talking to them, about talking to that player, about how they're hurting the team.
So a lot of leadership stuff, more than just playing quarterback.
Yeah, not even the X and O stuff. We barely did any of that. Just more like leadership and what to expect as being a quarterback, which was really cool. Really cool just to hear from them and how they progressed throughout college and then to the NFL. And they said the NFL is just like college. You got to expect the most out of everybody. And if you guys don't got guys showing up, you're not going to be there.
How do you feel that's going to translate to what you do on Saturdays?
Just hearing from them and how they go about their business, I think it kind of just motivated me to do more. Just hearing just stuff that I haven't done before that they recommended to do. I think I took away from it, which will definitely help me in the future. And just kind of stuff, just like being a leader. It's my last year. And just trying to help guys. The young guys get into it, and then if you got guys, not doing the right things, and just kind of talking to them in the right way to get this program where we want it.
How do you end up at that passing academy? Do you apply? Were you invited? What's that whole process
Yeah,
about?
So I was invited. Coach Freund went 3 years ago. 3? Yeah, 4 years ago. He was down there, and then he had nominated me my sophomore year. No, my June last year, and then he nominated me again this year, and I was fortunate enough to get in. So it was a really cool experience.
Any nerves?
Not really. I wasn't too nervous to get down there. I'm pretty outgoing social guy, so it was really cool meeting all the other quarterbacks. And then obviously meeting Peyton and Eli and some of those top guys. Met Coach Shermer for the Vikings, a really cool guy. He actually lives right by my old high school. So, yeah, it was cool. A lot of fun.
Did you know any of the other quarterbacks taking part? Old high school foes or college guys?
No, a lot of the guys from down south, so not too many connections. It was kind of funny. A lot of people we met down there. It's a small world. I knew some guys, they knew some guys, and I know like Josh Allen. We played Josh Allen out in Wyoming 2 years ago, and he remembered us. So, you just kind of find like the quarterback Wisconsin. My sister goes there, and so you just kind of find connections like that, and it was fun.
So we're almost into July here. You itching to get at it yet? How's the off season treating you?
It's going good. Summer workouts. We get a little break next week, but then we're back. Freshmen and those guys get up here, I think, late next week. So it'll be good to get them on campus, get them up to speed with us. But, yeah, I'm already looking forward to fall camp and kind of getting the ball rolling.
Are you spending the whole summer here for the most part?
Yeah. I've been up here. I went home for maybe a week after school and been up here since. So, yeah, we're getting a lot of work in. Early mornings with Bachl, getting the work done, so it's fun.
I want to talk a little bit about last year. So obviously the first 2 games, both winnable. You're down against South Dakota. You're staring 0-3 right in the face. You come back and you go undefeated in the league. Like how hard was that to not fall into the trap of the season's over?
I think...
And it really was about a quarter from essentially being over.
Yeah.
At 0-3.
You lose that game, you're in the hole. But you just can't worry much about the past 2 games. You just got to look forward to the future. You can't control those and how they went. But in those first two games, we realized like we were there, just right there. Bowling Green was a tough one. Wasn't the outcome we wanted, and Stony Brook we really didn't play that well, and we knew how much better we could be. And we came ready to work that next week and just put in our mind we're gonna have to win out if we're gonna want a shot at the big sky, and just stuck to it. And guys bought in, and we were full go from that point.
So you didn't really have to rally the guys. You guys were always just of the mindset that we're still grinding.
No, I don't think in football season you should ever get down. Even I remember my freshman year, we had 4 games left, and we weren't making playoffs or doing anything like that, but. You still want to go out there, perform, and, you learn a lot from situations like that. Me is earlier in my career when, we missed out on playoffs in 1 year. You just never know what can happen, so you can't let 2 games decide your season.
Does the mindset going into this year change at all now that target's on your back? You've knocked the door down, basically, not only in the conference scene but in the national scene. People know what we're all about now, what you're all about. Does that change the approach team-wise at all? No, not at all. I think our expectations are higher than everybody else's. We want to be at the top. So, going into the season, our expectations are higher than ever before. So, as of right now, I think we might have a little bit of a target on our back, but we're not worried about that. I would assume that last year going into the season, you're thinking about 7-4, and you didn't get in, and maybe use that as motivation. Now next year, you're probably thinking about that Richmond game, thinking about going into this year, aren't you? Yeah, that was a tough one. We kind of let that one slip out of our hands to go out and play Eastern Washington that next game. But, it just gives you motivation more for next year. But, it's that's the way football goes. You won't always get the outcome you wanted, and but I think this year will be a good one. Once the season ended for you guys, do you keep watching the playoffs? I know just as support staff, when I'm working directly with a team and their season ends, I find it tough to watch the rest of the playoffs in that sport. How do you still watch to the bitter end? Yeah, no, we watched all the games up until the end. I know I did personally, just because I wanted to see how like Ewash compared to Richmond, yeah. And just from that point forward. And they're fun. They're fun to watch. Watching James Madison and NDSU, and you learn a lot from just watching games, and because you never know who you're playing next year. Right. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to keep watching, but it's not the most enjoyable thing. It hurts. It hurts. Yeah. Kind of like but I think externally there's a lot of passion and
realization that this could be another good team? What's it like in the locker room right now?
Yeah, expectations are high. We, you don't want to go into the season, we got top 10 with the preseason rankings, but, from last year we got that, and you can't let that get into your head. So I think with a year of experience, being put in that situation before, you can't let it affect you. We got a few tough ones in the beginning, so head's got to be screwed on tight and ready to go.
As a senior starter now, how comfortable are you with the scheme, the playbook, everything? Do you feel like you're in full control of things on the field?
I think from freshman year to now, learned quite a bit. So, yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable with it, but still learning.
Did they limit you when you went in as a freshman? Did they give you a smaller playbook, so to speak?
Freshman year, I didn't really know what was going on, to be totally honest. It's kind of funny looking back at it now, just how much I've learned, and just the whole offense in general. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of there's a big mental side to our offense, running pro offense. Shifts, motions, being a different personnel type team. It's huge. So a quarterback has to take a lot of responsibility for everyone else, and you got to know the ins and outs. You got to know where guys are going to be, because you'll have younger guys pop in, and, they got to start here and there, know when to go on the snap count, and, you got to make sure they know what they're doing. So that part's huge. But, I think in terms of comfortability going into my senior year, pretty comfortable, but, still learning.
We know a lot of the household names on the offensive side of the ball, but who are some other guys under the radar maybe that fans should probably get excited about this year?
For offense?
Yeah.
Well, we got some young guys at O-line that are coming up that are doing well. Guys are still working for spots. We'll see in fall camp how that goes. But
the quarterback's going to throw as much love as he can on the offensive line, and he
line.
should.
Get him happy. Get him to Happy Joe's.
Yeah, no, they're working hard this summer, doing good. But that group's going to step up huge this fall. Last year we kind of dealt with some injuries, had to move guys over. Michael Cole played. What did he play? 3 positions? I think he played 3.
Yeah.
3 or so. I mean, you got to have guys like that are versatile and that can bounce around when you have injuries. But a huge thing that we wanted to work on for this offseason was developing some depth at O-line, and I think we did that. We had a lot of the freshmen stepped up big in spring. I thought a few of them had good springs and did well. But going into fall, just got to continue to develop that depth and mentally make a big jump. So, yeah, they're doing well. And then we got some good receivers coming in. Cam Kinney out of Washington, he's fast kid. Still got to learn, but we got a lot of weapons coming back.
You alluded earlier to the mental responsibilities of a quarterback. Maybe describe for the fans who are listening the life of a college quarterback, because you're doing 2 sets of homework basically. You're doing your schoolwork, and you're studying your offense. So, Do you have a life?
Yeah, no, I got a life. But during the school year, during the season, it's class, film, class, practice, film at night.
Or does it just become so routine that you don't even think twice?
You don't really think much about it. My freshman year was a little bit of a smack in the face, because you don't realize all the work you actually have to put in. But and just like going into this season, I picked up some things from the Manny Pass Academy that Peyton and Eli mentioned, just about going through film, even when your coaches are still going through it, just things to pick up on. But watching film's huge. I put in a lot of hours during the week. All the quarterbacks do. Put in a relentless amount of time with that. But you probably watch around 2.5 hours a day, and then got some schoolwork on top of that.
Yeah,
it's a lot, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it, and the more you study film, the more you're ready for the game.
You mentioned the quarterback group. Now you're expected to be the leader of the team, but how much of that is just of that quarterback group? You guys watch a lot of film, you do a lot of stuff together, where you're supposed to mentor those guys as well. Yeah,
I think we all. Brad's got a good mind for the playbook right now, so we're just trying to help the younger guys with. So Nate that just got in, and then Andrew, Zim. We're just trying to help those guys out as much as we can, just to get them up to speed with the offense, because you don't know what can happen. My freshman year, Joe and Ryan both got hurt. You got to have third man pop up, so you never know what happens. So you gotta make sure all those guys got a good feel for the offense, and just helping them. And then we got a good quarterback group. We all get along well. It's fun to be around them, and Coach Rudolph teaches us well.
What's the story? I can't remember if it was you, Mitch, or if it was RP telling me about the fan and the tattoo.
Oh.
Which I didn't know.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't you, was
No.
it Ryan? I didn't know about this. What's the whole story here? The fan,
That's a bit
Keaton
of a long
Studsrud
one.
is a great quarterback?
Oh,
or
I
something?
did hear this. I heard this, yeah. I
What's
want to
this?
hear your side of it.
So it's actually, it was weird because I didn't know the kid at first, but then I met him. It was after we won the Big Sky. He made a bet earlier in the year that we wouldn't go undefeated in the Big Sky and win it or something. And if we did, he would get a tattoo that says Studsrud can throw.
This probably happened when we were 0-2 or whatever, right?
Yeah. I was at the way beginning, and we ended up going undefeated. And I saw it an hour after the game. Literally got it after the game. I saw it, and I was like, oh my god! And I saw the kid later that night, and I was telling I was talking to my dad about it, and my dad and his dad happened to be roommates in college.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So. Yeah.
Did he know that going in, you think?
Huh?
Did he know that going in, that there was a connection there?
I don't think so.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So you saw this on Twitter at first before you met him?
Someone sent me a Snapchat, I think, of it, and it was on I think it was on Instagram or something. But it was that was kind of funny. Blake, that was quite the story. But
you're pals now?
yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
he
we're
can
good
add
buds
a trophy to it this year. You know what I mean?
He said if we win the national championship, he'll get another one. So
All right.
maybe we can add to it.
Hell, I'll get one. Let's go.
Oh, it's on record.
All
I like
right.
it.
Shoot. Do you get a lot of interesting social media interaction with the fans?
I'm not a big social media guy. I don't tweet. I don't know the last time I tweeted or Instagram too much, but I mean, maybe a little bit here and there. You'll maybe get a comment, you'll be like, whoa. But other than that, no, not really.
I think that would be the hardest part about being an athlete, is staying away from that and staying away from all the negativity because we see enough of that and we're not even on the field.
We had Cam Johnson on from the hockey team, and he was telling us about some of the stuff he deals with.
Yeah, I'm good buddies with Cam.
Yeah.
He went to school with my cousin, actually, so yeah, I saw some of the stuff people tweet at him. I'm like, oh my gosh! But
hoping he gets injured, and they've gone at his girlfriend in the stands. And
you just got to block it out. None
but
of
the
that.
same thing where it's just they hide behind the keyboard. Where if they saw Cam, they'd be like, "Oh, Cam,
yeah,
great
buy you a
game."
drink, buddy." Yeah.
Yeah, social media is good at that, but you just got to block it out, and just at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Can you hear it coming from the stands when things aren't going well? Or do you hear that stuff?
From fans, if we're not doing good and they're yelling?
If the offense isn't moving the ball. Or
There's
Here's it from Cato on the sideline.
There's sometimes that loudmouth that's like, throw the ball or something. Just some people that don't know football too much.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game, so you just deal with it.
So who do we open with? Refresh my memory. What's first in the schedule? Utah,
yeah.
Utah.
So what are we looking at for that game?
That'll be a big one. They're a really talented team. I think they had the second most guys go in the draft last year. So, they lost a lot, but I'm sure they got a lot more, a lot of depth. They'll be a strong athletic team. It'll be fun though. It's always good going against tough opponents. A couple years ago when we played Wyoming, that was a lot of fun. And just going up against Bowling Green, Utah is a much bigger opponent. They're top 25 right now, so
they're always sneaky good.
Yeah, they are. So
when you mentioned you have to treat a football season as if anything can happen, so I imagine it's the same mindset for a game like this.
You never know. If I was in their spot, you just treat our game like any other game. You can't think anything else of it when you're playing a smaller opponent because anything can happen. But it'll be fun. It's always good to play bigger FBS schools just to kind of just helps for playing against other teams. There's size and speed. Then going, I think we played Missouri State next game. Yeah, so it'll help. It'll definitely help.
Do you get up more for an FBS game or a rivalry?
I'm always pumped up for all the games. I don't really care.
That's a
who we're
Manning
playing.
answer right there.
I'm jacked for each game.
So is there a pregame ritual? Do you always do something right before the game?
No, I don't talk much before the game. I usually don't say anything. I'll just in the locker room, just listen to music, go out, throw, and I don't really say much. But just kind of, I don't want to get too jacked up, lose energy.
Yep.
But then during the games, I like getting fired up when fun stuff happens. So.
Will fans see any noticeable changes with the offense this year
To
the casual fan?
Maybe a few things, different formations. We're gonna try throw the ball more, I think, if we can. But we're gonna stick to the same mindset: smart, tough, and physical, and pound the rock. We got 3 really good running backs that are in the system right now. So.
Plus, you run for 100 yards one time last year.
Yeah, I hope I can run a little bit. I hope I can run a little bit more this season, but that's not my choice. But yeah, I'm always.
Are a lot of those scripted, or is that kind of as the play happens?
Sac State, that was all scripted. So yeah, those are called. I love those plays. Those are fun.
Yeah,
but,
that was a fun game.
Well,
to watch.
that's a good time to ask this Twitter question we got from our old friend James Scott 107. Keaton's favorite play to run. My money is on the read option.
Yeah, in high school it was definitely my favorite. But yeah, I love it. I love playing. It's not the one we ran in sack. It's not even a read option. It's just a pull, and just shoot the A gap and just hit it running. I don't think we haven't really done too much read option since I've been here, but I would
flea flicker.
Oh, the flea flicker
needs to be it.
Never works anymore. Never works. So you're okay not airing it out 40, 50 times a game. You like running as much as you do chucking it around?
Oh, yeah, I love running the football. Yeah. But sometimes I try being too much like a running back and end up hurting my shoulder.
Yeah.
So coach was, they're not going to be too happy about that.
You got 22 back there. You got 5 back there. Give them the rock.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's always good when you have a quarterback that can run and just kind of spread the offense out. It always helps. So just one more guy to take accountability of.
Yeah, you mentioned the running backs. Normally it's receivers barking that they want the ball more. Everyone wants the ball. You got a stable of running backs back there that probably want the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all want the ball. That's all.
Who's the worst in the huddle?
The worst?
Yeah.
We don't. No one's selfish like that on the team. If one guy doesn't get the ball in the game, they don't say anything. They just come back, do their job, and when you're winning, there's not too much to complain about. So, no, they're all great guys, and we all get along well, and there's not too much barking at each other, I'd say. So,
who of the receiving group do you expect to take another step forward in his progression this year?
Jamon Mercer really emerged kind of as a top guy last year. He's up to like 210. I think he's at like 210 this summer. He's gained some weight and gotten a lot stronger, so I'm expecting him to make a big jump. Luke Stanley, he's still kind of recovering from an injury. He's one of my good buddies, and I'm hoping he makes a full recovery and can help us a lot. He's a big kid. He's like 230 now.
Wow.
Yeah. He's when you got big, tall receivers like that, it's they're fun to throw to. And then, of course, the freshman, Travis Noah. They just got a full year of experience last year and we're back, and we got some guys coming in that got some speed, so we got a lot of weapons coming back.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, here's to lots of wins, lots of new body art,
and a new tattoo for Jason. Yes, I love it.
Keaton, thanks for doing this. Best of luck this year.
Appreciate
it, guys.
What if you spent your summer waking up at 5:30 to go be yelled at by Nate Bockel?
I don't know if I can handle that at 11 a.m.
Fear the beard.
I was like, what if you spent your summer waking up at 5:30? He's like, well, I did that because I delivered papers when I was a kid.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I hated it.
In Grand Forks?
Yeah. It sucked because I'm not a morning guy.
What was your route? What area?
Right around my house. It was like 3 blocks.
Well, I don't know where you lived, Mitch.
Well, right behind, right over by Red River, behind the Grand Cities Mall there.
How long did you do that?
God, too long. 4 years, I think.
Rain or shine?
Yeah. When you're 13, you need money for a new Wally Joyner baseball mitt. That's the only way you can get it done, right? Oh.
Why do we find a way to work Wally Joyner into every podcast episode?
Got Barry in this one, too.
Coach Agnew was fun. Keaton was fun. Those are guys you could cheer for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Keaton, it was funny to hear him talk about his freshman season. I don't think a lot of people really had a lot of faith in him right away, and he really built himself into something here.
Yeah, I think we were all a bit of a mess our freshman year. Some of us just didn't stop being a mess.
Well, for me, it's because I played a lot of NHL 93 and didn't go to class a whole lot. That doesn't equate.
What dorm were you in?
West.
I was a Walsh guy.
Yeah.
Walsh forever. I want to thank everyone for submitting Twitter questions. That was the best response we've gotten. Keep them coming. We really appreciate that. Helps us get to know our guests as well and ask them things you want to hear about. We will not have a taping next week. That's 4th of July week, and everyone's schedules are all over the place. So we'll get back at it 2 weeks from now. If you have suggestions for guests, which you've also been sending us, please do that. You can hit us on Twitter at @sitdownandcheer. We still have the Gmail account up, sitdownandcheer@gmail.com. You can also email us directly too. That's quite all right. What else? Subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us a rating and review. That helps keep us near the forefront of things and helps people find our podcast. What, David?
And if you have any design options for Hodge's tat, send those along too.
I'm in deep now, aren't I? We are now on Stitcher, yes. One of our Twitter followers asked
it's
that.
Stitcher,
isn't it? Troy Stitcher. And Folsky here made it happen for you, so hopefully you can find us that way. We're also on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/sitdownandcheer. YouTube also.
YouTube? Okay.
Are there cameras going?
Wow, David.
Why didn't you? I would have worn a shirt.
David's actually producing things now.
Okay, gotcha. All right, David's motivated. That'll last.
Yeah, let's go eat.
5 weeks. Yeah, let's eat.